Okay, so I travel. What do you guys do in this room? Yeah, so I was in Jordan with some of my friends here, and we came back only on Thursday. And everybody was keying in, oh, we are back at work, we are working. So I tweeted back, but I'm already at work because I travel. That's my work, right? So, and Kunzum is my brand. So I'm not going to talk about blogging here or how to blog and stuff like that because my first brief by BlogAdda was that I need to tell an inspiring story of what I've done, and that's what I'm going to try and do. But if you want to know more about blogging, I have an afternoon workshop at 2 o'clock on the business of blogging. Is anybody who wants to make a business venture or make money from your blog, I'm going to talk about that in a workshop from 2 to 3:30. And I can see the timer running, so I'll get on with the next thing, right? So the first question is, when I say I travel, why do I travel? I was not going anywhere in life, like the Buddha here in Ayodhya in Thailand, right? So because I felt I was not going anywhere in life, I decided to go everywhere. Yeah. So, and Kunzum is my brand, my blog, kunzum.com. This is not a plug for my blog. You may or may not follow it. But just to give you a little insight of what my journey has been so far, in 2007, I set up kunzum.com, the blog. And that the name was inspired by a journey, my first journey as a self-proclaimed travel writer to Lahaul Spiti. And when I was standing at the Kunzum La at about 14,900 feet above sea level, that was the most beautiful spot I had ever stood on in my life. If you've not been to Spiti, that's the next trip you should be taking. Although it's winters now, not a good idea to go, but the moment the summers come, you should go to Spiti. And there's no such thing as Spiti tourism who's paying me to say this to you, right? And the reason when I called my blog Kunzum, my friends in the branding business told me, oh, you know, you should have the word travel or holiday or trip in it because how will you go up in SEO otherwise? And I said, look, I'm not creating a blog for Google, I'm creating a blog for myself. And so I decided to call it Kunzum. And 2008, I wrote my first travel book called Peep Peep Don't Sleep, which was a collection of funny road signs. 2009, I opened the Kunzum Gallery in Hoskas Village in New Delhi. And in 2010, I converted that into what we call the Kunzum Travel Cafe. And what's the Kunzum Travel Cafe? It's the real world social network for travelers and photographers and filmmakers and authors. We call that the face-to-face book of travel because the thing about travel is no matter how many sites come up, how many blogs come up, how many videos come up, eventually travel is about the real thing. You cannot travel sitting on your computer, right? There are some things in life you cannot substitute no matter how much technology advances. And those and that's travel and love. You can't replicate those two things, right? And along the way, I've been writing my blog, I've been writing printed books, I've been writing ebooks, I've been publishing e-magazines. So that, in a nutshell, has been my journey so far. And now we're dabbling with video because we feel that is the way forward. But one thing that we always stayed clear of is to be part of a trending curve. We try to be trendsetters, right? So if Scoop Poop is trending today, we are not going down that path. We just want to do our own stuff, and that's why we do everything ourselves. In our own micro way, we try to follow the Apple model. We create our own content, we create our own platforms, we create our own distribution, we do our own publishing. Everything we do is ourselves because that's the only way we can be innovative without being judged by others, right? So I think an introduction about me has already been given, so let me not go down that path again. And so, coming to why do I travel? I travel to write books. That was my first vanity trip, actually. I decided to become a travel writer because I wanted to write books like Bill Bryson. That's another matter that along the way, I developed my own templates, and I started writing books my way and not the Bill Bryson way. But that was my first inspiration. I wanted to write books, right? I wanted to sell the India travel story because I feel that India is the best country in the world to travel to. And we've been really undersold, right? We have been either sold to the Lonely Planet backpacker who does not even add $2 to the economy per day, right? Or we've been sold to those people who come on tour packages with Thomas Cook and Cox and Kings. but it's not really been sold to the middle class of this world. And that's what we need to do. And the middle class of the world makes tourism happen. And when tourism happens in a sustainable manner, in an organized manner, it does more to the economy than almost anything else you can think of. Because everything else pollutes. Travel need not if it's done in a sustainable manner. And so for me, it was my own little social enterprise that I wanted to tell the India story, and I wanted the India travel story to grow in a sustainable manner. And I travel to understand sustainability issues because for me, I love this planet. I love this country, and this planet needs to stay beautiful. Everybody who loves the idea of travel needs to understand that if we don't preserve this planet, we will have nowhere to travel to. Look at our cities. Look at Bombay. Look at Delhi. Look at Chennai. Look at Calcutta. We are a mess. Right? You go to Himachal. You go to the lower hills of Uttarakhand and Himachal. It's a concrete mess. Right? The Northeast is preserved, the Spiti is preserved, Ladakh is preserved, but I fear that they will change. And the stakeholders need to come together. But before I can tell something to somebody about what to do, I need to understand those issues myself. And travel does that to me. I want to meet people. I met Lost in Petra. I could have found him on Facebook. But this real world interaction with this Bedouin tribal in Jordan is much, much more enriching than any Facebook interaction that I can have. No matter how many Facebook friends you have, our real friends are the ones we meet face to face. And I travel to uncondition myself. I was also brought up with stereotypes. Okay, do schooling, do engineering, do MBA, get a career in IT, get married, have kids. And then one day I woke up, I said, like, what the hell? This is not happening, right? So in 2001, at the ripe age of 31, I dropped everything, I went back to school. And that is so important for all of us. We need to keep learning all the time. We need to keep going back to school, right? We need to keep evolving. And just because we've become engineers or MBA does not mean we spend the next 40 years of our lives coding for TCS, right? Because no matter what happens, I've written a book called Don't Feel Stupid at 60. We'll talk about it separately. But one of the things I say, no matter what, even if there's an afterlife, although it's not been proven yet, even if there is an afterlife, you do not carry this life's agenda to the next one. This life's to-do do not get carried forward to the next one. So do what you have to in this life. Nobody, I don't know who started this trend that we have to spend 40 years of our lives in a cubicle. We don't have to. And the best years of our lives should be spent traveling. Why? Because at 70 we can sit in a cubicle, but at 70 we might not be able to travel the way we can at this age. And trust me, when I travel, I actually feel healthy and I actually lose weight when I travel, even when I'm having these wonderful mirchi vadas in Jodhpur. Yeah, so how does travel impact me? I see the bigger picture. There's more to life than what our city dwelling tells us. There's so much we can actually, and that's what I tell a lot of young people. When we were starting out, when we finished school and college in the late 80s and early 90s, there was no choice but to pick up a job, which paid 4,000 rupees. Why? Because the middle class at that time was a very different middle class to what we know today, right? All of you young people are very fortunate that to have been born in a very different economic environment. Right? Today you can experiment, and today your experiments are acceptable. Take time off. Only when you travel will you discover what this life is all about. And just like I found Lost, you're going to find yourself. And then you can take decisions. And it's never too late to start traveling. Take a gap year, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. Take a gap year, travel, and see how perspectives change. I discovered this wonderful world. Look at the people here. Look at the food. Look at the landscapes. Right? I learned to let go, to take it easy. Everything is not about a rat race. Right? It's a stress buster. Like all of you, I have my low moments. I feel stressed. All I need to do is start visualizing my next trip, and trust me, it's a stress buster. Suddenly, nothing seems to worry me because why? I'm just looking forward to the next trip. life is not only about spending money. That's what travel has taught me. Yes, I want a certain standard of living, right? I don't want to be a jholawala. I don't want to be living in a in a one-room house where 6 people are sharing the room. No, but you draw a line. A lot of my friends tell me, hey, you're so lucky you're traveling this way and all that, wish we could do that. And I tell them, look, guys, working in Deutsche Bank and working on all these software companies, your net worth is 20x of what mine is. If anybody can actually drop everything and start traveling, it's you guys. But for the next 20 years, you are more focused on multiplying your money 20x, the money that you're never going to actually use, whereas I'm happy to write 20 more books in the next 20 years. So take your pick. I feel youthful and energetic when I'm traveling. I actually feel like a lump of lard when I'm not traveling. And overall, I just feel creative in everything I do in life. I just look at the more beautiful thing, the side of everything that I do. And that, again, brings the best out of me. And very importantly, it's taught me how to be mindful. All of us are multitasking. All of us are looking into screens all the time. All of us are super busy. How productive are we? As a travel writer, as a photographer, as a videographer, I realized one thing. When I'm out there, when I'm in the Dal Lake, it is more important for me to capture the sights and sounds and stories and come back with those. I can update my friends on WhatsApp and Facebook from my hotel room. I can update them when I come back to Delhi. But that sunset for which I've gone to the Dal Lake is not going to happen. Colors are changing in the evening in the Dal Lake by the second. I need to capture those colors. We need to be mindful about everything. And that mindfulness then starts reflecting into everything we do. Sitting in our office cubicle, if we are trying to do 10 things at the same time, we feel busy, we feel worked up, we feel stressed, we don't sleep well, then we start eating more, then we start drinking more. Why? Because we are not living the moment. We are not doing what we are supposed to do at that moment. And that's what, again, travel has taught me. To be mindful, to be in the moment at that time. And travel has helped me impress ladies. The number of ladies who come to me and say like, wow, you're a traveler, can we travel with you? And I say like, damn, why did I get married? आपको नहीं लेके जा रहा मैं. I don't want to impress you. When I've got so many beautiful ladies out here, you get your own fan following, I'll get my own. I'm not telling you. Like I said, yeah, I might, I'm going to Delhi next. Seriously, so friends, now friends, when they ask me, oh, you're back, I said, no, I am just visiting Delhi. Why? Because I travel. If I'm in Delhi too long, then I feel something is wrong with me, something I'm not doing right. And then I need to play back these presentations to myself and remind myself that, yes, I'm a traveler, right? And most importantly, travel sets me free. I've told myself, no matter what I'm doing at Kunzum, if tomorrow morning I get an opportunity to travel, I should not have the excuse, oh, I can't travel because I have work to do. And that is why when we created the Kunzum Travel Cafe, from day one, we passed on ownership to our guests. We said, you own the place. There are no entry barriers, there are no exit barriers. You come, you sit here for as long as you want, you use Wi-Fi, you read books, you want to organize events, go ahead. The space is yours, organize events. At the end of it, you pay what you like. Why? Because I did not, if I charge somebody even 10 rupees for a cup of coffee, they have the right to complain. If I'm shooting lions in Africa, I don't want to be getting a call, hey, you know what, you're serving me cold coffee when I wanted hot coffee. I don't want those complaints. I want to be free. And travel has set me free. So that's the time I had available. I made it in good time. I've got 44 seconds more. If somebody has any questions, you may pass them on to Siddharth and he can tell.
Yeah, Ajay, first of all, my congratulations on a superb talk. My question is, how do you sell India to Indians? How do you encourage the travel habit in middle-class Indians? What I've been doing in the past 3 or 4 years is whenever I find time, I try to go to an out of the way location. I've only managed 2 so far, but that has told me is, I guess we're missing out on something. I have written only 1 travel post so far. I'm basically a political blogger, Ratnagiri. And the beauty there just blew my mind. And there was not a single soul in that location. Why did I go to Ratnagiri? Because it's my, जैसे बोलते हैं देवस्थान, मराठी में देवस्थान बोलते हैं. That's where our family comes from. In short and sweet, how do you sell India to Indians? And what are the problems that, because of which Indians don't, particularly the middle class Indian, doesn't look at travel?
I think it's not about selling India to Indians. It's about you guys selling travel to yourself. You need to tell yourself, you need to tell yourself, you need to start believing that at the end of the day, we are all travelers. We are born and we die. We're just transiting through this life, right? And that's at the philosophical level. At the real level, right? What's stopping you from traveling? I don't understand. You've got the weekends. You've got the maximum number of holidays anywhere in the planet, right? We've got weekends and we've got an excuse for every holiday. And thanks to all the political parties, the number of holidays are only increasing. Because everybody, for every little festival, I don't know, and I don't know, like, I'm on some mailing list of these, I'm a Jain, so these Jains have started raising some issues. I said, what the hell, yaar, go and जाके कुछ और काम करो, तुम लोगों को क्या पड़ी, कोई non-veg खा रहा है, नहीं खा रहा, मेरे को क्यों mail कर रहे हो anyway, यार? You know, and so what I'm saying is go and start traveling, right? If you don't have, you have the weekends, right? That's time available to you. What are you doing sitting there at home on a weekend? Number one. Number two, there are destinations around your city which you can go on a weekend. There are destinations you can cover in a day. Most importantly, almost none of us discover, we don't travel to our own city. Most every Indian city has something for the traveler. How many of you know your own city very well? I wrote a book called Delhi 101, which is 101 interesting things to do in Delhi. And in my preface, I wrote, I said, this is only the beginning. There is so much more to a city like Delhi. There's so much in Mumbai. There is so much in Calcutta. There's so much in every city, either within the city or just outside. There is food, there's history, there's culture, there are events. None of us attend events. There's so much theaters happening. There's so many musical performances happening. How many of us attend them? That's all part of travel, because travel is everything we do. So you have to get in that mode. The moment you get into the travel mode, India and the rest of the world will be sold to you.
I have a rejoinder to that. एक छोटा सा एक्सपीरियंस है. I was once on tour to Nagpur. महाल नाम की एक जगह है, वहाँ पे शहीद स्मारक नाम का एक बिल्डिंग है. I was sitting waiting for my distributor to come in with my team. I was कुछ नहीं कर रहा था, चाय बैठ के पी रहा था, बिस्किट खा रहा था, wasting my time. I walked into that place. It took me 20 minutes of my time, and I was treated to some 40-50 original photographs of our freedom fighters on 2 floors. And there was not a single soul who was interested in walking into that place. This is in the center of Nagpur, one of the most crowded areas of Nagpur. Everybody walks past it and nobody was even aware of it. It's called Shahid Smarak, it's in Nagpur. I think it goes deeper. This is something for you to think about.
There's a point of discovery waiting at every nook and corner on this planet. You just need to discover it.
There is one question, last one for you. JK Singh 99. Who's JK Singh? Khade ho jaiye, Mr. Singh. Unfortunately, we only have men for you. Now he's got a very interesting question. He says, how to be a traveler keeping financial constraints in mind, right? Yes, get a rich friend. That's all. All right.
Yeah, so number one, attend my workshop in the afternoon. And one of the things that I mentioned over there to make money for traveling is either to tattoo a brand on your forehead or to, like you said, get a rich spouse. And there is no shame in the women working and the men traveling.